Hello, my dear Raship the Great. How are you, dear? All right, I'm so happy to get something from you, my dear, straight from Sheridan. So it's really considerate that you forwarded your shot to me to have some critique from me. Uh, Whatever the time allows me, I'll be trying to give some of my point of views into it. It may help you. I hope so. But I must say, your this particular shot, looking at your present stage of study, it's fairly good. I find a maturity in it in these earlier years. I think it's second year going on. Let me play it. So alright, so this is basic head turn with some expression change. Basically, the assignment you must be trying is, it's a basic mechanics move, but it should have some reason. So it's an acting also. It should be alive, it should not be dead move. There has to be some reason, motivation of that turn. So that is what I understand about this particular assignment. Let me play it again and then we'll start on. Alright, so the person is somehow looking at something amused, and it just moves his eyes onto something, and he gets back and then suddenly realizes that for something important, there is something surprise factor or something. So it gets back into that. Oh my god, what something terrible or something like that, but basically it engages him, it hooks him. At first he doesn't know that something might be there which can hook him, so he just moves his eyes and then realizes that okay, it's type of take. Alright, so any shot is mostly critiqued or analyzed on different layers, different levels. So the first level or first layer any shot should be seen is about its acting, about what the person is doing, why he's doing, this layer is about acting choice, that what an animator wants a character to do, is it okay, or is there anything that can be done about it. I don't know much about the storyline or what's happening, but otherwise, looking at it as a person in a scene or in life, it's fairly convincing. I would like to just add few things into it. Okay, he looks into something, he's back, and suddenly what I felt slightly is, it's subjective. Some will be agreeing with it, or many will not be agreeing with it, and they have a good reason of not agreeing to it. What I think was, if he was looking at something like this and he moves his eyes to something which he doesn't realize that it's important, and he gets back to wherever he was looking, I find a slight snap in getting back to the first point, which can be slightly smoothened. What I mean is, he is looking here, then he moves to this point, he moves his eyes to this point, and he should be getting back to wherever he was, because the first point was not something he was really hooked into. He was just watching it in an amused way, and then he moved his eyes and got back into it, and then he had to snap. So now I see a slight snap in getting back to the point number 1. Just a sec. This here, if we don't put a snap, let us smoothen it a bit more. In that case, the next snap will be exaggerated still further because of contrast. he should just come back, because he was just looking at something and he just rolled his eyes to something and went back, and then he's hooked back, like he's watching something and then he just moves his eyes to something and gets back to it, and then said, oh, there was something. Here it looks like that, okay, he's looking at something and then he goes back to it, and then he wants to come back to the point number 1, and then again he wants to go to the point number 2. I think there is no, what I feel is there is no strong motivation for him to go back to point number 1 in some haste. I hope I'm getting the story right. If there is, for example, maybe he was hooked to point number 1 and he just rolled his eyes and then he wants to come back, he may not miss the story of point number 1, then it's alright. But he was, if just looking at something like that and then he rolls his eyes and wants to get back to where he was, and then his mind realizes, oh man, there was something at point number 2, then he goes, then I think the first move from point number 2 to 1 can be slightly less snappy, lesser than presently what it is. Okay, that is it for about the acting choice. Now we'll get to the next layer. Next layer I would like to pick up is about mechanics. I felt I am happy about the small overlaps you have done to it, the small details you have put, and the way when it turns, the way it's led by the pelvis, and also the way eye leads, because it's the brain who is rotating him, so it's the eye which should be leading, right? Okay, let me start with the eyes only, because I just remembered something that I noticed. What's happening? This guy is turning. Okay, there is a half blink. I felt maybe the eyeball is slightly late when this guy wants to turn. If I want to turn, or maybe you want that, okay, he wants to turn and he still wants to look there, maybe in that case it can be right. But one of the point of view was, okay, when he has the half blink, once he has the half blink and it's opening, normally the eyeball starts leading. So you have a half blink and then you are leading. But maybe if you want to show that, okay, he's not that concerned about point 2, he's just rotating like that and still noticing point 1, then it can be okay also. Now the other thing is, it depends upon what quality you are working at. Are you going for full quality Hollywood, Pixar type of quality? Then we get into details of mechanics. Then we try to put overlaps in the eyelid also. How, if it's closing and opening, then there is slight leading. This leads and this follows one frame, and this opens one frame before this frame. So there is a slight overlap in the eyelids. The next level animators try is, there is overlap within the lid. So within the lid there are controls, so you try to give an overlap. So if he's opening from this direction, so this point is open first and then this. Are you getting my point? This type of wave gets created. Okay, here another thing about this detail of mechanics is that when this person, okay, he gets to point number one again and his mind is animated, what's happening now is he realizes, oh, I saw something, man. So there is a change of expression. Okay, here for a very high quality type of attempt, see, quality is like endless. For a particular show, this is more than good. For a particular TV show, or maybe for some shows, it's more than good. So it depends upon that how much work you want to put into a shot. So if I have to give some comment, I would say that when the brows are frowning, I don't see any movement at all in this lid. All things are slightly connected, or they are not at least dead. So I find this shape totally dead when he's doing this. It can be kept alive. It should also be affected. Maybe he's frowning, so maybe the eyelids are slightly widened. There has to be something. So I just felt it to be too dead and solid. Alright, I like this. I like the stitch and squash you did. Only thing I was slightly doubtful, I hope when he's doing this take, then you have done good justice with the pelvis. It has to rise here and then settle. Na? I'm slightly doubtful about it. Just do some arc tracking with the pelvis. And for real feature quality, the way it settles with this expression, I again see the brow getting really dead at this point. Maybe there can be something like a moving hold. I don't see it totally frozen at the end. And another thing that I may mention is at the end about this shoulder. I find it at the end slightly floaty kind of thing. I mean, we want this guy to settle down. All right, we can understand that. Let me play it. The last moves of this shoulder, the left shoulder, to me it's slightly floaty. I mean, the movement still hanging around, like he does this and he has to settle. So I feel that okay, the body is settling and shoulder is settling slightly late. It's very subjective. You can just review it if so. This is one slight point about it. And in the beginning again, there's no end to looking at the details of mechanics. When it is not here, it's at the beginning. If I go frame by frame, like again, it's for full quality feature, then we start getting into this layer when we see frame by frame. Okay, like we cannot have totally pinned body on any two frames like this. It's in whole, I mean, feature quality, it would be avoided. So when the movement begins, I see a totally pinned body. Though they can be slightly moving hold kind of thing, or just slowing out into that move. Here I just felt in 2 or 3 frames this particular left shoulder to be slightly pinned effect. This shoulder I felt to be pinned. Otherwise it's a great attempt here. Like this shoulder, maybe it should not take so much of time, maybe 1 or 2 frames lesser to settle from here to here. Maybe it should start slightly later, so it's giving slight floating motion, maybe not from here, slightly later. So it's very small thing to mention. Alright dear, enjoy, you're doing great job. Thank you for including me into it. So all the best, make some great new shots. Alright, bye.